Okay, welcome everyone. Friday, we're going to cover the stock market charts. I'm going to go through really all the interesting things that I see in the charts telling us where the markets are potentially heading next, and point out a couple trade ideas, a couple setups I want everyone to really tune in on that could start to work out. So lots of good stuff in the video. Leave me a thumbs up. We'll get right into it. So starting off here with the NQs. So this morning they came out with some jobs numbers, and they bought tech, and I don't really see any real reason why they bought tech, but that's what happened. So basically what we have here is on this NASDAQ futures NQ for the last week or so, we were trading just sideways in this range. Yesterday it broke down, giving us a sell signal, but like I said in the video yesterday, I didn't like the fact that the financials and the industrials and kind of the stronger, the things that have been holding up the market didn't really break down. And so I just didn't like that sell down or that breakdown in tech either. So today they've recovered that trend line and they're overshooting kind of the top end of the range. So as far as I can tell, that was a false breakdown. And we're likely going a little higher in tech. Now if I go to triple Qs, the technology ETF, then really what I see, you can see the false breakdown right there. So you can see we were just sideways on this daily chart for a while, and then yesterday we broke down closing, and today they gapped it up and ran it right back into the range. So that's a bear trap or a false breakdown basically, and I think ultimately that's likely going to set us up for that back test that I have circled up here. This is the area where I think it's likely, this is the better area to short as of right now from what I can tell. You could go long, there's to get up there, we got about 2 to 3%. But the thing is, I'd probably be more interested in just letting it get up there and then shorting. Because the thing is, what you have to understand is on this daily chart, we broke the trendline support right here. So major support has been broken. We're just getting a back test basically. But that back test, if we get it, it's going to put it in an all-time new high. So it will seem very bullish at the moment. Because we'll be at all-time new highs in tech and likely the SPY as well, but all-time new highs, and it will be backtesting major resistance with negative divergence. So you can see here on the PPO and the RSI, but the PPO, if we run up and do that backtest anytime soon, it's just going to be like right in this area, and it's going to be there's negative divergence will still be there, meaning we'll still have downtrending momentum while making a slightly new high. So that's as far as I can see it, is if it's going to run up and do the back test, you'll have negative divergence, you'll be backtesting right into key resistance, and that's an objective area to short if we get it up there. Going to the SPY, and I think that's what the SPY is going to do as well. The SPY is just inches off of its all-time high. So at this moment, the green line is coming off your March 2020 lows. We're trending up. We finally got a sell signal or a breakdown of that trend, and it's just been kind of grinding below trend backtesting with negative divergence. You can see the negative divergence. So what I likely think is going to happen is going to pop up, run up, hit that trend line, make an all-time new high with negative divergence right into key resistance, and that's likely going to be the end of that upward move, and then we're going to start to roll over. That's what I see in the SPY. And you can see the small caps, they broke trend. So even though the small caps kind of can continue to grind higher, it's still, you've broken major trendline support. So here's your trendline support going all the way back to the March 2020 lows. We got the sell signal right here, and we had negative divergence. There's your last divergent high. So, I don't know if the small caps are going to make a new all-time high, but we could certainly run up and continue to back test this trend line while the large caps make that back test. But it's just right there into key resistance as we hit that trend line. So every time we've hit that trend line, we get rejected. There's a rejection there. Hit it again. There's a rejection. So we could hit it again, get rejected. But we're below trendline support. So I think we're likely at some point going to fail and start to roll over. But again, we could continue to backtest. So I'm watching the large caps to give me the indication. Other thing that's important to watch are these sectors that have been strong, kind of the sectors that are really holding up the market. They're starting to break a little today. Nothing impulsive, but here's XLI, the industrials. you can see over the last really 2 to 3 weeks, basically, we've just been grinding along this trend line with a, trend grinding, moving higher because it is an upward trend line, but with no real strength. And today starting to kind of break down. But again, all these days here, we've, have little whipsaws where we've broken down and recovered. So if what you want to look for is an impulsive breakdown. You want to see how these hourly candles, they kind of grind along here. We want to see a big impulsive breakdown, just obvious impulsive selling, with volume obviously coming in it helps. You want to see a clear, decisive break of that trend. And on the daily, you want to see a nice impulsive red breakdown candle. All right. So watch for that. Could show up today, might show up next week. We don't know when that's going to show up, but I think it's going to be here soon. Oh, going back to here again, on the XLI, negative divergence as well. So you can see here that basically this was a divergent high right in here, and this is another divergent high. So we're making divergent highs, telling me that this upward trend is losing momentum, and we're about to break trend, and we're going to start downtrending. But we haven't broken yet. We don't have that sell signal, so we got to wait. All right, XLF, same deal with XLF. You can see just kind of hanging on this trend line for the last 3 weeks, basically just grinding along. We have negative divergence continuing to remain intact, and we're just waiting for that impulsive break. Again, you can see on the hourly, they're starting to break it, but it's not impulsive yet. That's just barely below, and the selling's not impulsive. So you'll see it show up. It'll be like impulsive selling where all of a sudden the machines turn to selling all at once, and it'll just, really start to pick up. And you should see selling really increase as that selling, starts to show up. So things to watch for on the XLF. Speaking of financials, so I think the financials are probably the most interesting sector right now for a short trade. I'm seeing lots of setups in these. They just haven't quite triggered yet. So that's, usually when I see all the stocks starting to look the same, then, typically we're looking for some sort of a trending move. And so that's what I see. I see the financials selling off and breaking trend and starting to downtrend, or at least having some sort of a correction, 10, 15% to the downside maybe. Looking at Wells Fargo, we've already started to break trend. So here's coming off here. This is coming off November 2020, but clear uptrend line right here. On the daily chart, we have negative divergence on the RSI and the PPO. And you can see we broke trend already. We've already broken down. It's not super impulsive yet. Ideally, I'd like to see the XLF break, or maybe some of these other banking stocks start to break. But this one's the first one that has actually broken. It just doesn't have a complete impulsive sell-off yet. So we could grind around for a little bit, drift sideways, maybe even backtest, and then get that sell signal in the financials, and then it'll break. So something to watch for there. Here's MasterCard, another one that is just right on the edge. March 2020 lows. There's a nice clean uptrend line. Negative divergence on the PPO and the RSI. And you can see we're just barely we're above support. We're holding on to support, but it's right there, about to break. So we just need that catalyst to push us over the edge. And then Ally, you can see here, this is another one I've been watching for a while. Clear uptrend line right there. We are above trend, so no sell signal, no reason to short from my perspective. But right there, you can see that we basically have just been kind of hanging along this trend line, not able to really lift off of it. We're just grinding higher. And as we grind higher in price, momentum is drifting lower. You can see the PPO and the RSI have negative divergence. So that tells me that, any day now, we're likely going to get a sell signal. So keep an eye on that. I'll be sure to likely jump on those when that shows up. And same with Bank of America, BAC. This is coming off November 2020, uptrend line here on the daily chart. And clearly just, barely hanging on. Negative divergence has been building for quite some time. on this one. So we have negative divergence on the RSI and the PPO. So it looks very similar to many of the other financials. All right, that's the point. I see a lot of setups for short trades. We're just waiting for that sell signal. Flipping over to the home builders. So here's PKB. You can see we actually do have a sell. It's kind of a sell signal. I'd like to see it maybe get a little more impulsive, a little more selling. But you can see here on the daily chart, going back to October, lots of reactions along this trend line. And we basically are just starting to break. We broke yesterday. It wasn't impulsive. Today it's selling down. It's not completely impulsive yet either. So I'm kind of waiting on this one. But looking to see if that can break down some more. And, we're just continuing to kind of watch that. One thing I'm looking through is some of these stocks in this sector. So building materials, here's JCI, Johnson Controls, clear uptrend line on JCI. And what I see is big negative divergence right there on the PPO and the RSI, and we're just holding trend. So again, very similar to the financials, just waiting for that sell signal to break. One of the shorts that I am in, and I have talked about Toll Brothers. So this one did break trend. We got a sell signal on this. Here's your March 2020 lows, and you can see the uptrend line right there. Clear sell signal right there. That's what you want to see. Nice impulsive breakdown. You got some increased volume on that sell signal right there. So that's what you want to see for a sell signal. And then we've just been backtesting ever since. Basically backtest here, come down, backtest again, come down. So, but you can see we keep getting rejected at resistance, and basically sometimes it takes a couple tries. They'll backtest it fails, doesn't completely roll over, they try it again, it fails. Finally people realize, okay, the sellers are in control and we're going lower. So that's what I think this is doing. I think we're still working our way lower down to about $50. I'm just remaining short on that one. So looking good so far. So XLV, the thing about XLV, we have this bearish rising wedge in XLV. And, XLV is comprised of healthcare stocks, which are on average defensive plays. So, it doesn't always sell off as much as you'd like to see, maybe with like a high flying momentum sector like tech or something like that, or the small caps. But XLV has clear negative divergence on the RSI and the PPO on the daily chart. We broke our trend line right here. Not super impulsive though. That's not a sell signal. See how you broke and you just barely closed below? Next day you were just slightly, it's not going anywhere. It's not really a sell signal. It hasn't really broken down. It's just kind of hanging out in this area. So I don't like that. And I could see this recovering and being a bear trap. All right. So I'm not short this thing. Now, if we did get a big sell signal from right here, because we are back testing that trend line, if we sell down, and get a big breakdown candle, then that would be your sell signal. But right now, I just don't see it as a valid breakdown. And going through some of these other shorts, Boyd Gaming, just kind of, treading water right now. It's just, we've broken down. We're just waiting for continuation to the downside is really what I'm seeing. There's your uptrend line right there. We broke, you got a sell signal right here. There's your sell signal, and then you also had a follow through selling back test. And I think we just continue to kind of drift, and then people realize that we're going lower, and then it gets more impulsive for the next leg down. Still looks good there. And, we've got some support about 55.50. We haven't hit that yet. Carvana's kind of, Carvana's treading water as well. You have this uptrend line right here. We broke, and it's gone sideways. And we made a new lower low, and here's, we had a back test rally, but not a new higher high yet. So I'm thinking we might stop right in this area, but again, I'm just kind of letting this thing do its thing. It's really just going sideways, no definitive direction yet. But I do think if I'm betting on it, and I think we're heading down to about, this trend line down here, probably 185, 186, somewhere right in there. And the reason why, just to kind of point it out, big negative divergence. I just want to point that out on the RSI and the PPO. See the negative divergence just been building and building for all this while. This is all divergent high. And so this thing really kind of quit going up. You can see it's just this big wide range of just right up in here. We were look, you were going up all through here, strong rally through here. Then the rally started to taper off. And then finally the rally was pretty much, there just was no rally. It was just sideways chop. right through here. You can see just all kinds of chop action. And now I think, so you start the downtrend slowly. People don't really realize it. You can see you make a high, make a new lower low, make a new lower high, kind of start to work your way lower. And then people realize that, and then you see more impulsive selling. Deer, same thing, chopping sideways, nothing's changed. We broke trendline support right there with a divergent high, so there's your negative divergence on the RSI and the PPO. You break, and we're just kind of going sideways on this support shelf. So we need to see a break of 353 for your next sell signal, and that should bring us down. I think that's going to bring us right down to about 318.30 or so. So we're waiting for that, and then DraftKings continues to backtest its resistance. Here's your trend line support right there on the daily chart. You had negative divergence, and you had you actually had a head and shoulders top right up in here. We broke trendline support there, and we're backtesting resistance. So nothing's changed there. We should continue to roll over. Neo's kind of chopping around. You know, we'll see. Neo could go higher. I'm not exactly sure. I saw a lot of the other EV stocks kind of popping, but in Neo, Neo did obviously have a rally, but it didn't pop when all those other things were popping. So we'll see. I think it's still going lower. My target for this is right now still about 22. I think we roll over and hit that 22, and yeah. And SBUX continues to look good to the downside. So you can see it's just, the last few days there's not been a lot of price movement, but there's also nothing changed on our technical picture. So you can see clear uptrend line there on SBUX with negative divergence on the RSI and the PPO. We have a sell signal, a breakdown, and we've just been grinding around backtesting, rejected. We could run up and do another backtest. Again, we need to see that impulsive selling start to pick up, but we are below trendline support, so I am thinking we are going to continue to drift down towards that 200-day moving average, down around 101.50. I see as the next level of support. And Snap, I'm not so sure about Snap. The thing about Snap, we have this downtrend right here, and we've overshot it right here. So you can see there's the downtrend, and we're above it. What I'd want to see, I'm actually going to cut my short, I think, and just re-enter the short if we get a breakdown. So what I'd be looking for is an impulsive breakdown, maybe a gap down right back into here, and then start to sell off. That's where I'll likely reestablish a short. But the thing with Snap is it has broken, it has broken out, and it could be backtesting the trend line. If it breaks down, I think it's going to break down because you have clear negative divergence in the RSI and the PPO. And I don't think we've sold off enough to really justify. We've really just gone sideways. So I'm just looking for that breakdown. If we break down, this is going to be a false breakout or a bull trap. And so I'd like to see that show up. And what else do we got? Tesla, Tesla's still looks like it's downtrending. It sold off 5% or so yesterday. They're rallying it a little bit today, but not, so far it's an inside day. It's not really able to recover the previous trend, previous candle. Inside day means the price action today is just going to trade within the price range of yesterday. And that's just a continuation pattern typically. So you'll have big candles and then inside days, and then you'll continue the pattern. So as far as I can tell, it's just down. All right. Here's your uptrend line in Tesla on the daily chart. And we had negative divergence start to show up right in here on the RSI and the PPO. I can mark it out, but it was basically right in here. And then we broke trend, so there's a sell signal, and I think we're just downtrending. So you move down, you backtest, you move down, you move down, you rally, you move down, you continue. So we're going to continue to kind of move down towards that 460 target. As far as I can tell, nothing's changed on that outlook. And then WGO, Winnebago, same deal, just kind of sideways. March 2020 lows, daily chart right there. Clear negative divergence on the RSI and the PPO. Let me mark that out right there. So we basically have that negative divergence showing up. And actually, you know what? I take that back. That's why I erased that. We don't actually have negative divergence on the RSI or the PPO, because you'll see here we made a high in price right there, and we made a high in momentum, and then we made a lower high in price, and we made a lower high in momentum. So it's not actually diverging. We just have momentum going down, and we have price going down. So no negative divergence. I think WGO still needs to head down, probably at least hit this 200-day moving average. And next level of support is, the support looks to be right in this area, about 66.50. And then the next level of support is 60.75 or so. And then the 200-day moving average is right there in between. Okay, Peloton. I want to talk about this one. So I covered my short today. And here's what, we got short basically right here on the back test of this trend line. All right, so there's your downtrend line in Peloton, clear downtrend line. And so, it is trending down, but the thing is that down here at the bottom, you put in bullish divergence. See how we made a new lower low in price, and then the momentum was moving up. So we actually have bullish momentum, and that gave us a rally right into the major resistance. So then you're going to get a reaction, and that's what I was expecting, a reaction, pulling down to somewhere right in here, about 99.70. Today we got to about 101.50. It looks like the buyers are stepping in a little early at that support. So I went ahead and covered the short. Quick short, really from the, I shorted it right up here, and a drop all the way to the lows was about 9.5%. I think I exited the trade with about a 9% profit. And yeah, just kind of a quick one on that one. I don't like the bullish divergence, so I don't want to stay short for another huge leg lower with this bullish divergence intact. So I think it's possible it could hold this and then actually have a breakout and start to kind of move up. But we'll watch it. But yeah, I'm out of this trade for right now. And that's all I got, guys, for today. I'll just keep scanning, looking for trade ideas. If you guys got an idea, leave a comment in the leave a comment below about your trade idea, and then I will catch you guys on the next one. Bye.